I'd bring you up to date on all my good news. First of all, thank you, thank you, thank you for praying for me. The I think I have probably over 200 cards that I have from people that care about me, which I didn't know there were that many people, and they've been very uplifting for me. Um, One person sent me something very special. It was a quote, a small paragraph from Chuck Swindoll that talked about attitude. And he said, "The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, the education, the money, than circumstances, than failure, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It's more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. So with that and being in charge of my attitude, I thank all of you for praying for me because that changed my attitude. And we've surrounded ourselves with several books. The first, the Bible. When I went through the 30 days of treatment with the radiation, it was very difficult. When they first told me that I was going to have 30 days of radiation, I thought, oh, piece of cake, I can do that. But until you've had your head bolted down, and then run through the MRI or the topography, I forget what tomotherapy, I think that's what they call the machine. It's just a little bit more difficult. The Bible was very helpful. My family was fabulous. I would get an email every day from my kids. From James, I would get scripture, and I know he was praying also. From Nicole, I would get a written prayer. And then every day before I went in, and most of my appointments were at 9:20, Jim would pray for me that I wouldn't feel claustrophobic when I was going through the machine. So, the Bible's great. The Lord's been very gracious. I didn't have one day where they had to redo me because of me going bananas because I was locked down. And for those of you that have never had it or you know somebody going through it, I've got some things that I've learned through all this, and that is if you've got a friend going through this, don't call them up and say, what can I do for you? Call them up and give them a choice. Tell them you're either going to do this or this, and tell them that they have to choose. And then it'll make them choose, and then you'll be helping them. Along with that, we got some more books that people had talked to us about, and one was Defeating Cancer, Anti-Cancer, A New Way of Life. And this was written by a doctor who actually was doing some brain studies, and he himself came down with a brain tumor. So that it's been very interesting. It's by David Servin Schreiber, MD, PhD, and it's basically how to defeat cancer because cancer feeds on sugar. And sugar was one of my favorite things, so that was a very hard thing for me to give up. We also have Living Food Cures. That's been really good because even Jim has become my advocate. Sticks up for me, tries to make sure that I'm eating right and that I'm drinking enough water, which everybody will tell you that I probably don't drink enough of. But throughout all this, the radiation sort of changed my metabolism so that I've lost about probably 12 or 13 pounds. I think I look good. I've enjoyed losing that weight. Of course, I don't want to lose any more. But he's become my real advocate, and he's in there pushing for me and trying to figure out the best things to do. And he even says he thinks there's something to this, that it does have something to do with the food that we eat. Food, stress, but probably a lot of the food. So I tell you all that to tell you that the end of July was my last radiation treatment, and the first week of August, we had my MRI done, and we went to NIH and had the chief neurologist, oncologist take a look at it, and he walked into the room and he said he could not have ordered a better MRI. It was great, so that we were all rejoicing. The only thing that was a little tougher was the fact that on day 19 I had to stop my chemo. They gave you a small chemo pill, and I had such a reaction to it that I only got through 18 days of it. But hopefully it did a good job, because nothing was growing back where the tumor was and in my MRI. So I'm living in 6-week increments now. They'll do a new MRI every 6 weeks just to make sure that I'm staying healthy and that everything is improving as it should. I'm working, been working. I only had a few days that I did not work. I'm thankful for the business. Thank you for praying for me. Thank you for referring people to us, because that's the lifeline of our business. And I hope to keep in touch with you again after I have another update. I do another MRI the first week of October.
Well, we want to thank you for your cards, for your phone calls, for your emails. Our friends, our clients have been more diligent than we could have ever asked for praying for Vicki, for our family, for showing the love and concern that, as Vicki said, we didn't even know was there. We ask that you continue. Her blood levels aren't perfect, but they're getting there, and we're thankful for your prayers. We look forward to continuing our business life together, and Vicki having another 20 to 30 years in this crazy business of real estate. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you soon.